Hey everyone, happy Wednesday. I hope you guys are having a fabulous week so far. And I'm super excited about this tip that I'm going to share with you really quickly. Um, I think is going to change a lot for many of you. And this is sort of a theme, as most of my videos are. This is a theme that has come up in multiple recent client calls, right? And um, And let me preface this before I get into the tip with why I think this is so important and why I think this is such a powerful way to shift your beliefs, okay? So there are many people who start doing this work with me and they start thinking about changing beliefs and changing how they think, and they feel like the process must be difficult, right? If I've always thought that money was hard or relationships are hard or I'm bad about this or I'm a procrastinator, then how can I actually change that? If I've always thought that, how easily can I actually change that? And so, number one, there is some practice that comes with that, right? There's definitely some consistency. There's some practices and tools that I provide clients to help you through that. But there's this one tool that I don't think I've actually talked about in this kind of forum. It's typically just come up in client calls, but I want to share it with you because it's going to shift your thinking in such a massive way. Such a massive way, okay? So, first, you know that I talk a lot about nothing has any meaning other than the meaning we give it, right? So, the meaning that we provide for anything that happens in our lives, the fact that this person didn't show up for the call, or that this person canceled on us, or that we are behind in, life, or feel like we aren't where we want to be, there's usually some story attached to that whole situation. There's some meaning that we are giving it. Okay, so this tip actually piggybacks off of that, but it really breaks it down in a powerful way. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples that came up in some client calls recently. So the tip is basically to look at how you are defining some specific words that you're using. And when I say how you're defining it, I mean, what does that word mean for you specifically in the context of whatever it is that you're doing? Okay, so I'll give you a couple of examples. The first example came with a client that I was working with just this week, and we were talking about something that she was preparing for. She's launching this program, and she said, I just don't feel like I'm ready. And I said, okay, tell me what ready means to you. What does ready, when you say I'm not quite ready, or I wonder if I'm ready, what does ready mean to you? How are you defining it? And she paused for a second, and she gave me this big long laundry list of things that she felt like she needed to have prepared, constructed, outlined, defined before she was actually ready to do this thing, right? So in her mind, there were all of these details, all of these extra pieces that would make her feel ready, prepared, on it to be able to do that thing. Okay. And so what I asked her to do was, well, let's redefine what ready means to you. And then let's decide that you're already ready. Right. And so we talked a little bit about how we can redefine that. Now, you might think, oh, this is just semantics, but the way that you feel and the way that you are receiving, processing, placing meaning on a definition of a word actually has a huge impact on how you define it, right? So when someone says, oh, I'm just not successful, I'm going to counter that and say, what does that mean to you? How are you defining successful for you specifically? What does that look like for you? And if they're saying, oh, I haven't hit this rank in my company, or I haven't made this amount of money, or I haven't worked with this number of people, or whatever, then we really have to look at, and let me go back. If they're saying those, that's how they define the word, and they feel like they're not reaching that and they're judging themselves for it and it feels bad, then we need to go back to, maybe we need to redefine what that word means for you. Okay? Because yes, there is a dictionary definition, right, of the word, but we don't always typically process and receive these words in this way. I'm going to give you another example. I was working with a client. She was talking a little bit about wanting to stay disciplined. And I said, okay, she was afraid that she wouldn't stay disciplined with certain areas of her life. And I said, okay, what does discipline mean for you in the context of this situation? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What are you identifying or using as your marker of, this means I am disciplined? And she sat with it for a minute and she said, discipline in her mind meant no. It meant that she had to tell herself no when it came to certain aspects of her life, certain desires that she had. Maybe it was related to money, maybe it was related to taking trips, maybe it was related to treating herself. But discipline is the equivalent of saying no to yourself. And if you actually look up the definition of discipline, I don't think that word's even in the definition, right? So what I'm asking clients to do, and I'm really encouraging you to start looking at, is when you feel like there's something that's in the way of you achieving, reaching, going to that next level, when you feel some kind of disconnect and there's a belief, I want you to think about the words that you're using and ask yourself, what does that word mean to me? How am I defining it in the context of the situation? Because you get to change the meaning and what it looks and feels like for you, right? So for a long time in my business, probably the first, 3, 4, 5 years, I looked at success in my business through a very distinct lens. For me to be successful, to feel successful, to know that I've reached this level of success, I sort of had two parameters. I had to be working with a certain number of people. There were multiple things. There were multiple markers, right? Working with a certain number of people, making a certain amount of money. I needed to have a certain number of followers. I had to have this level of visibility, right? And I had to really look at that, because the thing about success specifically is that the marker is always moving. So even though I might have hit some of those numbers, it didn't feel like enough because it was all external. So I had to really shift the definition of success from these external, I've reached this amount of money, I've reached this, kind of, or this number of followers, or I've reached this number of people on my email list or whatever, to something that was more internal. What am I doing in this work, right? So I really want to encourage you to look at the words that you're using. And these are words you're probably thinking a ton without realizing it. Slow down a little bit, and I want you to think about, what are the words that you're using in the context of these things that you want to achieve. You feel like you haven't done it yet because you're not ready. You're not disciplined enough, right? You are a slacker. You are lazy. That's another one that I hear all the time. Clients will tell me, I'm just a lazy person. Okay, tell me what that means. What does that look like for you? When you use that word, what's your definition of that? Like, give me the nuts and bolts, because I guarantee it is some skewed definition that you've placed on this word, and it's having a huge impact on your mindset and what you're able to achieve, okay? Now, remember that you get to choose the meanings. So if the meaning that you have for being ready isn't working for you, we have to change it. You get to change it, right? So the client, I can't remember exactly what she changed her definition for discipline to, but it was something that was less restrictive and more empowering, right? So it wasn't just discipline means a straight up no. It was something that was more empowering for her. So I really want you to start thinking about that. And one of the benefits of doing this kind of coaching or working with a coach is that you have someone who can listen to what you're saying in a way that you're not always attuned to. Chances are you don't know all the beliefs that you have that are holding you back. I don't either. That's why I have a coach, right? So when you have someone who can reflect these things back to you, kind of be the mirror and say, you know, you've been saying this word a lot. What do you mean by that, right? I've heard you say this, that, and the other, and this feels like a belief, potential belief that's getting in the way. Does that resonate, right? When you have that feedback, you are able to see the bits and pieces that are holding you back that you wouldn't otherwise see because you're so close to your life, okay? So that is my quick tip for you today, the mindset tip that I think is going to make a huge difference if you apply it. Okay. So I hope this is helpful. I am, of course, available if you have questions about this or you are thinking about, yeah, I know that I've been holding myself back for a while. I don't know exactly what words I'm using. I don't know exactly what terminology I'm using or what beliefs may be holding me back, but maybe I need to check into this, right? If this is something you're interested in, I'm going to include a link below. Book a quick consultation with me, and we can talk a little bit about what coaching might, be able to do for you. The other thing that I want to share with you is I've been getting lots of really great feedback on a resource I created a couple years ago called the 21-Day Expansion Guidebook. And this 21-day guidebook is essentially 21 days of specific mindset journaling prompts to help you, like, to give you basically the language to start shifting and changing your beliefs. And this is for people who like want to do this mindset thing, maybe want to dip their toe in the water and do it on their own first, and don't really know where to start. So I have this guidebook. It's available for purchase. I'll put a link in the comments below as well. I've been sharing it. I typically share it with clients, as we feel called or as it would be helpful. But recently I've been getting lots of feedback on how powerful and how easy it is to use this guidebook to just dive into the practice, right? So I'll include that below if you are interested. In the meantime, if you have questions about this, if you have a word that is coming up for you and you need help redefining it, post it in the comments. I'd love to hear it and, help you in making that shift if that is something that would be helpful, okay? I hope you guys are having a wonderful week. I am a little out of breath. It's what 38 weeks pregnant can do for you? Yes. So, but if you are interested in getting on the list to work with me once I come back from maternity leave, then make sure that you get signed up for that consultation or shoot me an email and we can get you on the list and we'll figure out how to get you for a call and see if this is a good fit for you. Okay. Hope you guys are having a wonderful week and let me know what you think about this tip. I'd love to hear. Okay. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.